Welcome back to Third Eye Weekly, brought to you by AT&T here on BTRtoday.com. We have a new website that you should go check out. It's divided up into read, watch, and listen. It's super easy to navigate. It's very pleasing to the eye.
Yes.
And we've also got a mobile app.
A new mobile app that you can check out on your iPad or iPhone, and we also will be having an Android piece coming out soon.
Yes, we will. But in the meantime, it's Community Week here on BTR Today. And we're talking with a couple really interesting guests, one of which is going to talk to us a little bit about the drug shortages that we're currently experiencing in the country.
Yeah, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Yoram Unguru, who he is a pediatric oncologist and a member of the Berman Institute for Bioethics at Johns Hopkins University. He's talking to us about how he had to build a framework for him treating his pediatric patients who have cancer because there's such an increasing amount of drug shortages. Apparently, there was a study that found out that over 83% of drugs that were supposed to be given to patients with cancer were not available in 2013. So he's really at this very troubling place in his work where he has to make a decision between two dying patients with cancer, children with cancer, and wondering, how do I choose between the two when I only have one drug to administer?
Right, and this is medication that could treat, the common cold all the way up to, like you were saying, cancer vaccines.
Yeah.
It's literally across the board. And up until his model that he created, it was really up to the discretion of the physician, the doctor, to make these decisions. There is no go-to standard model operating procedure to ethically make a sound choice in the matter, which is troubling. It's really, really troubling.
Yeah, and so the FDA is proponent on stopping these drug shortages, saying that they stop hundreds of drug shortages every year. And mainly once they figure out by the manufacturing firms that they don't have enough drugs, the FDA makes sure that there's adequate amount when in contact with these manufacturers. However, when we spoke with Unguru, he really proposed a great idea in that we need a separate independent organization to not only look at the manufacturing issues, but also to look at the financial issues, also look at the regulatory issues in building and creating these drugs, and that the FDA really isn't being adequate in stopping these drug shortages.
Right, and so you're kind of of the same parallel opinion with Unguru,
yeah.
that we should have a separate entity that looks into some of these problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think, obviously, the FDA and their work isn't adequate. There are still hundreds of doctors who are claiming that 83% of their drugs is not available for treatment.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that we need to take these issues into account more effectively because clearly they're not being examined. But I almost feel as though introducing a second party governing entity would create more confusion and create more management issues. I think just fixing what the FDA is doing and transferring some of the interest and focus from just manufacturing into some of those other vectors that you were talking about, including financing, would really bolster the solution to this problem and centralize it all in one location. That would be a lot easier to deal with than, say, two when already one is kind of broken.
I just wonder, though, if you just reform the FDA and what they're doing and adding some of those newer components,
right,
that might not sever the inherent bias that FDA has in being the Food and Drug Administrators. And they may not see some of the holes that are creating these drug shortages, which is now America's new standard of normal in terms of drug administration. So I think what Unguru is saying, and what I also agree with, is that we need somebody that's a lot more independent to see the holistic view of all the issues that are contributing to these drug shortages, that the FDA can't form that holistic view due to their connection, their very tight connection.
Yeah, I'm sensing a re-emerging theme every week when we talk about the FDA, which is it needs to be completely reformed if it's going to operate to its true potential. Well, tune in to hear the rest of the interview with Yoram. It's really fascinating and extremely pertinent information for all of us that are engrossed in the healthcare system in this country. Thanks for tuning into Third Eye Weekly on BTRtoday.com, brought to you by AT&T.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Zach.